Good day, fellow. Setso is back. Today I just want to show you on how to solve for x using quadratic formula. Firstly, suppose now if I decide to give you this quadratic formula, 2x squared minus 3x minus 7 equals to 0. Then I decide to ask you to solve for x. How are you going to solve for x using the quadratic formula? You see, we know that the general of quadratic is given by ax squared plus bx plus c. You see, then now from this given, we can clearly see that our a is going to be 2, our b is going to be minus 3, then our c is going to be minus 7. Then for us to determine the values of x, this formula, the quadratic formula, you see this one, we are going to use this formula to find the solution of x. You see, it's so simple. Now from the given, you can then figure out or take out the value of a, which is the coefficient of x squared, which is 2. Let us write 2. Then b is going to be minus 3. You see, coefficient of x. Then lastly, our c, which is minus 7. Immediately after doing this, we can then take this formula, which is minus b plus minus b squared minus 4ac. We divide by 2a. Let us substitute our values. For b, it's minus 3 plus minus b squared, which is minus 3, or squared minus 4. The value of a is 2. The value of c, it's minus 7. We close. Then we divide everything by 2a, which is 2, the value of a. At this point, we can then multiply this negative with this. We get positive 3 plus minus. Let us figure out using a calculator the value which is inside the square root. Going to have minus 3 squared minus 4a, then our c is minus 7. We equate to get 65. Then we divide by 4. It's going to be 4. You see, at this point we can then do what? We can then use a calculator straight up in order for us to find the values of x. You see, firstly we are going to consider a situation of plus 65 divided by 4. We get, let me round my answer to 2 decimal, going to get 7.2.7, let me say 7. Then if I decide to put a negative sign, it's going to be negative 1, comma 2, let's say 7. See, just like this, we have managed to do what now? We have managed to solve for the values of x using what? The quadratic formula. You see, it's so simple. Now, let us consider the very same equation now. But now, we are going to use what? We are going to complete the square. Now, we are going to complete the square in order for us to determine those values. You see, we are going to determine now the square. Then let us determine the square for this given quadratic formula. Firstly, in order for us to complete the square for the given, we must make sure that, let me just erase here as well. We must make sure that the value or the coefficient of x squared to be 1. See, for now is 2. For us to make this coefficient to be 1, we need to divide by 2, everything by 2. Then we are going to get 1. There's no need for us to write 1. This side we are going to get 3 over 2x minus 7 over 2 equals to 0. You see, immediately after doing this, now we are going to consider the middle term, which is minus 3 over 2. Minus 3 over 2. Let us multiply this value by 1 over 2. Immediately after doing this, we square. Let's see what are we going to get. 3 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2. You close your square. We get 9 over 16. See? Get 9 over 16. Immediately after doing this, we can then take this value over 2x and write it next to the middle term, going to be plus 9 over 16. Immediately after writing it, we then subtract it. Over 6 minus 7 over 2 equals to 0. Why do we subtract this value? We subtract this value in order for us to retain or to keep that formula or the quadratic formula as it is. Because 9 over 16 minus 9 over 16, you get 0. You see? It's like we haven't done anything. Now bear this in mind. If we take the square root, if I decide to take the square root of 9 over 16, I'm going to get 3 over 4. You see? Those are the factors of what? Of 9 over 6. At this point, we can then do what? Factorize this trinomial. You see this trinomial? We can then factorize it. Then it's going to be like this. X minus, you see? Don't forget, if we have a minus with a plus sign, both brackets, they are going to be negative. Our factors is going to be 3 over 4 minus 3 over 4. See? You close, minus. For this one, you can just use your calculator. Minus 9 over 16 minus 7 over 2. See, what do we get? We get minus 65 over 16 equals to 0. See? Then now, do you still remember from the exponent that if, let's say, we have a multiplied by a for the same base, what do we do with our exponent? We add. It's going to be 1 plus 1, which is going to be x squared. Same applies. Let us apply this principle to this one. You see, we have the same brackets in a way. Each it has an exponent of plus 1. For the same brackets, we add what? Our exponent. Then now we are going to get, oops, I won't have enough space there. X minus 3 over 4 is squared. Then let us take this number to the right hand side. It's going to be positive over 16. You see, since I don't have much space, let me erase here. See, like this. Then at this point, I want to remove this square. For us to remove this square, we are going to take the root both sides like this. See, then the square will be removed. Then I'm going to get now x minus 3 over 4 equals to See, then for this square root, I'm going to get plus minus. You say plus minus. See, plus minus, like this. Immediately after taking root to the other side, 65 divided by 16, we get plus minus 65 divided by 14. Then we almost done. Take this value to the other side. This is what we get, plus minus root 65 over 4. See? Then let us try to write our answer in a decimal format. See? Let us write our answers in a decimal form. Then now I'm going to start with a plus sign, square root, divide square root of 65 divided by 4, we get 2. You see, we still get the same answer, 2.77, or we should get negative. Now see, yes, negative 1.27. you see, we still get the same answer if we decide to complete what? The square. Now what I'm going to do, Philo, I want us to look at this formula. Sorry, this equation. I want us to look at this equation. I'll be done now. See, I want us to look at this equation. Sorry. Let's say now, if I decide to give you a radical, you see. Oh, sorry. Let me take this one. A radical equation like this. See, let's say we have x plus 3 minus, let's say minus x is equals to 1. Then I decide to ask you the question now to say solve for x for this one. The aim when you come across the radical equation, the one with the root, you must isolate the root maybe to the left hand side and take everything to the right hand side, like this x. Let us take this x to the right hand side. It's going to be plus now x. Then you are going to remain with what? With x plus 3. You see, x plus 3. Immediately after doing this, we want to get rid of this root. For us to get rid of this root, we need to take the square on both sides, not the root, the square on both sides. Then now for this one, you are going to get x plus 3. Let us simplify this one. We are going to get something like this, x plus 1 together with x plus 1. If we say x multiplied by x, we are going to get x squared. X with 1 get plus x. 1 with x get x. 1 with 1 we get 1. Then we have our like term, which is x plus x. We're going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1. Let us write this thing here. We are going to have x squared plus 2x plus 1. Then at this point, we can then do what? Transpose this one to the right hand side. Going to have x squared plus 2x. Let me take this minus x plus 1. Take this 3 minus 3. Then we do have like terms, which are 2x minus x, we get plus x. 1 minus 3, we get negative 2. Negative 2. Oh, sorry about that light. It's negative 2 over there. Let me write it somewhere here, because some of us we won't be able to see. We have 0, x squared minus, plus x minus 2. You see? Then at this point, you can just factorize the following. Going to have pen bracket, both sides. Immediately after you open your brackets, going to have x, same x, with different signs. You see? Then the factors of 2, we have 2 multiplied by 1. But now our middle term is positive, which means 2 is going to be on this side, then 1 on this side. See? If we further solve this using zero factor theorem, we are going to say x minus 1 equals to 0, or x plus 2 equals to 0. Finally, we are going to say x is equals to 1, or x is equals to, let me say, minus 2. See? Immediately after doing this, don't forget this fellow. Immediately after finding these two answers, go back to your original equation and try to check if both of these are the solutions. Let us start firstly by 1. Then we are going to say square root, where we see x, we plug in 1 plus 3 minus where we see x, 1. If our answer is 1, then this is a correct solution. It's a solution, yes, indeed. Then this one is going to be solution. Let us try with negative 2. Then negative 2 plus 3 minus negative 2. We get 3. Then as for this one is not the answer for this, then we can just say not. You see, this negative 2 doesn't satisfy this equation given above. Then at this point, we have managed to solve our radical equation. See? Then, lastly, I just want to show you again another form of what? Of equation, which is this one now. See? Which is this one. Suppose if now we have this equation like this, x squared, minus 4x whole squared plus somewhere there 5, you open bracket, x squared minus 4x, you close bracket, plus somewhere there 6 equals to 0. Then I ask you to solve for x on this one. From this given equation, you can clearly see that it is much complex for us to solve for x. Then we need a technique that we can use in order to make our equation look much simpler. Check. We see that x squared minus 4x is exactly the same as this one, x squared minus 4x. We can then do what? We are allowed to say now, where we see x squared minus 4x, let us use maybe a different value, which is now what? K, in order for us to make it simple. You see, we let somehow x squared minus 4x to be k. Where we see this thing, we can just say k, we have squared plus 5k plus 6. You see, plus 6, like this. You see, plus 6 like this. Immediately after doing this, we can then ask ourselves now to say, what are the factors of 6 that when we add them we get 5? So simple. It is 3 and 2. You can use a quadratic formula if you want to. You see, you have various options for you to figure out the value of k in this situation. But now I'm going to factorize. I'm going to have k plus 3 together with k plus 2 equals to 0. Because if you multiply this 2, we still get 6. You see, still get 6. Same applies if you multiply k with 2 together 3 with k. When we add them, we are going to get the middle term, which is 5. Then immediately after doing this, let us use a zero factor theorem, which says k plus 3 equals to 0, or k plus 2 equals to 0. Then says minus 3. This side we get k is going to be k minus 2. See? Then so far, we haven't solved for x. We have just solved for k. Let us take back that x squared minus 4 and replace where we see k with that one. X squared minus 4x. You see? Then it's going to be equals to minus 3. We also have this side. Sorry about that light. We are going to have going to have x squared minus 4x equals to minus 2. Let us take 3 to the other side. It's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 3 equals to 0. We have this equation. You see? We have this equation. I won't have enough space. But let me transpose this one as well. This side, I'm going to have minus 4x plus 2, which is equals to 0. You see? Then now, at this point, we can then, I won't have enough space. I'm going to take this one and write it somewhere here. Let me write it somewhere here. Say x squared minus 4x plus 3 equals to 0. Let us solve for the values of x. Simple. Going to have x equals to 0 together with x. Both my brackets, they are going to be negative. Must put 3 this side, 1 this side. Finally, we use zero factor theorem. Then we are going to get x to be 3 this side, or x to be 1. You see, we have managed to solve for x on this one. Now let us move to the second one, which is this. You see, then this side we have, I don't have much space. I hope you can see. I'll try to squeeze it somewhere there. We have x squared now minus 4x plus 2 equals to 6. So it is 0. You see? Do we have the factors of 2 that makes up 4? It's not easy for us to do so. But let us use what the quadratic formula for this one. You see? Then we know that our A value is going to be coefficient of x squared, which is 1. B value is going to be minus 4. Our C value is going to be that 2. You see? Then we consider now this formula minus sorry, plus minus b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Ooh, I don't have much space. Now I think I am forced to erase. You see, I am forced now to erase. Let me erase here. See, I am forced now to erase. Where we see b, we are going to substitute minus 4. We have plus minus 4. Don't forget to square. Minus 4. Our a value is 1. Our c value is 2. Then we divide everything by 2a, which is 1. See? You take your calculator. Firstly, we are going to consider the positive sign. Negative, open bracket, negative 4 plus. We start by plus sign. Then we say negative 4 squared minus 4a value. It's 1. Then 2, we divide by 2a, 1. We get, let me leave my answer inside form. We get this value. Then again, we also get, now we just need to put a negative there. Sorry there. We are going to get 2 minus root 2. So, oops, this light, we get 2 minus root 2. Sorry about that light to disturb us. See? Then that's it. You see? I thank you. I hope you have enjoyed so far. And again, if you are still new to this channel, kindly don't forget to do what? To subscribe there. I thank you and enjoy.